This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Hello and welcome to the first edition of what we are going to call here on C2C the Couch Fantasy Zone. This is going to cover fantasy football for this year. And who knows, maybe we'll start with basketball after the football season and then roll into baseball. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. But my host across the world, Prime Moose, Tim Hendricks, how you doing today, bud?
Doing good. Excited when we kind of brought this up. Brian brainstormed it a couple 3 weeks back. We kind of rolled it in. We kind of had an idea that we don't have a fantasy football show or a fantasy show on the network, and figured we'd give this a shot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you guys typically will see us too on C2C Rankum, which we will still have on Tuesdays, but we thought why not do a fantasy show? Get you guys involved, and next week we'll have our official show where we will have a wheel that will have 5 teams on there, and we will go through and pick a position, and then whoever wins that week for bragging rights for the year and stuff like that. So it should be a fun time. So we're gonna kind of combine C2C Rankum with today's show. But first, Tim, for those that don't know, you are a Colts fan. So what are you expecting from the Colts this year?
I'm expecting us to take a step up. Last year we missed the playoffs because we couldn't beat the Houston Texans. We beat the Houston Texans last year in the last game of the season. Not only do we make the playoffs, but then we're the AFC South champions. It seems like we're destined to have the last game be a different maker, because it seems like 2 out of the last 3 years. 1 year it was the Raiders. Last year it was the Texans. We need to make a step up. We've got some players that we put on IR yesterday, which we really didn't need. We got a rookie quarterback that we have to make sure stays on his feet, doesn't do anything stupid. But we also have what we had last year. We also have a veteran quarterback and a backup who has won a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. We've got Joe Flacco as our backup now, and hopefully we don't need to rely on him like we did Minshew, but who has gone to move on to the Raiders. But it's better to have a quarterback like Flacco behind Anthony Richardson. But hopefully,
yeah, for me, Minnesota definitely in the North here. So I think the North overall is going to be a good division to watch. The Vikings, on the other hand, got their quarterback issues not resolved with drafting J.J. McCarthy, but got hurt after the first week of preseason games or during the game. So he'll miss the season. So we're going with Sam Darnold. If Darnold could play, I mean, this is probably the best weapons that he's had in his career. So if we can protect him, I mean, okay, yeah, he played a little bit of San Fran last year, which has some good weapons too, but he's going to be the guy week 1, and if he could put up what everybody thought he could do when he got drafted 3rd overall, Vikings are going to be in a very good position, going into the season. So I hope they make the playoffs, but I think it's the Lions division to lose. Packers right behind them, and then see what Chicago and the Vikings do. So So with that being said, I know I'm in at least one league. I got another league to draft. I might, do a couple other leagues here within the next couple of days. But Tim, when you go to draft your fantasy team, what do you got a strategy, or you just kind of wing it, or do you stay away from certain teams and players, or?
When it comes to and I know I missed our draft a week ago, and still found a way to get the for top draft pick in the league. Usually it depends. It all starts with where you're going to get drafted, where you're drafting. I don't know about you, but for me, I like to draft at the end of the rounds so I can double up.
Yep.
It definitely makes life a lot easier. And then if you're lucky enough to draft one or two, you're pretty much set on where you're going to go. But after that, it starts filling need. To me, it's to start filling needs. I tend to go out and break hearts sometimes. I go out and look and say I might need this guy, and I need a running back, or I need a quarterback, and I'm the guy who makes a jump early. I'm been known to be really, really make some people unhappy and draft defenses in the 5th round for some reason, and really make people not happy. But yeah, it's usually I do a little homework, but I try to base everything off of what happened last year.
Yep. No, that's what I kind of do, base everything off of last year. I'm a guy, I kind of like to draft in the middle, depending on how many people we got. If we got I prefer to play with 12 guys. 14 I'm okay with. 16 is kind of pushing it a little bit. 10 and 8 is kind of like, you're not going to be making any trades or anything because your teams are going to be stacked. So, but, draft in the middle, I definitely like, if I am at the end, pick up back-to-back picks, probably get, top 2 in each position that you pick from. And then I also try to, get that quarterback that matches up with my receiver or tight end, or if I draft a quarterback, draft a receiver that could hit, because you just never know. It also depends on how my running backs are looking, stuff like that. But I'm also a big fan of keeper leagues. I need to find one to get into because I think those are kind of fun. Auction leagues are okay, but so with that being said, Tim, let's rank our can't sit players, I guess we will go with throughout the year. This is, like I said, we're going to kind of tie a C2C with this one, rank them. But we'll start with the tight ends. I think the tight end position is not the great. I mean, there's probably 4 tight ends off that I listed right away. We'll do the AFC first.
Wait, you did AFC, NFC?
Oh, you did? You went together? That's fine.
I went together.
Okay, we can do that. That might be a little bit easier. Yeah, because there's some guys out there I just threw out there. I'm just like, okay. So yeah, we could do it. We could do it together. That's we're in our preseason mode and we even screwed up. So all right, so Tim, so who is your number 5 tight end that is a can't sit player if you have him on your team?
This is and I think I had him number 2 last week in the AFC. And I think about this, as long as Josh Allen is standing upright and can throw the football to his checkdowns, and this kid's got hands of like he catches everything. It's unbelievable. And if you've got him, you got lucky. Hopefully you didn't. And if you get him late, it's somebody wasn't paying attention to your league. But my number 4 or my number 5, I've got Dalton Kincaid for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I have him 6th. It was just one of those things that you just don't know what's going to happen with Diggs being gone. I mean, I still think he's a can't miss player, but for me, a team with a lot of weapons, but I think for their quarterback Purdy, I think he's a one guy in the red zone that he's going to watch, and that's Kittle. I think it's going to be a guy that if you got him, you're not sitting him. You're number 4.
My number 4. Well, you kind of stole my thunder there. It's weird that he didn't. What was it last year? Week 3? He didn't get his first touchdown until like week 3, and then he had like 3 and 3 plays or 3 and 4 plays. It's George Kittle. It's the only knock on Kittle is the fact is he's got Ayuk and he's got Ayuk and Samuel as wide receivers, and he's got Christian McCaffrey in the backfield.
Yep.
That kind of makes it a little more difficult. But any other team, I think he's right up there like Kelsey. I think he's number 1. He's a 1A. I think Kittle. Would be is definitely a start. If you're not starting Kittle, the only way you're not starting Kittle is on a bye week or he's hurt.
Yep. Oh, exactly. All right, so let's see. My number 4, I'm going with the guy that's got a new quarterback who likes to get the ball around, and I think, too, is going to up his game. I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons, Kyle Pitts. I think he's going to be a guy, in the middle of the season. I mean, you might flex away, but I think once Cousins and Pitts gets that connection, I think Pitts is going to be a guy you're not going to want to sit.
Right.
You're number 3.
My number 3, I think with the help of with the Derrick Henry being in the backfield, I think my number 3 is going to have a lot more. Is going to get checked down a lot. He reminds me a lot of a former Baltimore Ravens tight end, and I'm not going to go Shannon Sharp. I'm going Todd Heap.
Yep.
I think Todd he makes Todd Heap. And Joe Flacco knows a lot about Todd Heap, and now you've got Lamar Jackson's got his own personal Todd Heap. I've got Baltimore Ravens tight end Mark Andrews.
All right. My number 3, a guy I will see twice a year, coming off of a decent rookie year. Was it his rookie year? No, second year. Oh, was it rookie year? Okay.
Rookie.
But after Detroit traded away TJ Hawkinson, they went out and got this guy to replace him. I think he's going to have a phenomenal year. That Detroit team's going to look good, and that's Sam Laporta.
Yeah, it's like you're reading my paperwork because my number two is Sam Laporta. He was the first team all rookie last year. He was second team all pro behind Travis Kelce. This kid basically came out of nowhere. This guy, if you'd have to have your head examined not to be starting Sam Laporta. There'd have to be, and the thing is, everybody's so worried about all these rookies last year having their sophomore slump. I think this is a kid that's not going to have a sophomore slump. He's got an amazing quarterback, and I can't believe I'm saying that with Jared. But I think he's going to get, and then he's got Amon St. Ra, and Jahmyr Gibbs. So he's not going to be fighting for too many, but I think he pushes for 1,000 this year. I think he's getting 10 touchdowns and 1,000. So
yeah. Well, you got me at number 2. You compared him to Heap. I think everybody compares him to Heap, and that's Mark Andrews. Lamar is going to have a lot of time because now they got Derrick Henry back there. He doesn't have to run so much, so maybe his passing game goes up. And you guys follow me quite a bit, and I've always wanted Lamar to be a Viking. I think Heap's going to definitely, if he doesn't benefit from them adding Henry to the mix, I don't know what else they could do. All right, you're number 1.
My number 1, I think it's pretty obvious because we haven't said the name yet. I kind of did when I brought up. Did I bring up and said I would say George Kittle when I brought up Kittle. This guy is ever since he came out of college and you got a quarterback who improvises like Patrick Mahomes. I think you got no choice but to make this guy your number 1. This guy is an absolute stud, not only from 20 to 20, but from end zone to end zone. This guy's he's getting himself in the names of the top 5 tight ends fantasy wise. in history, and it's rare when you can get somebody like this. And I'm going to lump him in with another former Kansas City Chief tight end. When you get numbers like Anthony Gonzalez, and you put him in the same, you're basically putting him in the same frame as Anthony Gonzalez. And now that Kansas City's cutting Kadarius Toney, it's almost you're taking more weapons away, and you're making Travis Kelce your number one wide receiver. But to me, it's a no-brainer. If you've got Travis Kelce, and if you've drafted him in the first round, you got lucky. To me, I think you might have overpaid a little bit too much for him. I think he's a second-round guy.
Yeah,
but I understand that if you're the guy who wants to jump for points, and I get it, especially if you're playing in a PPR league where you're getting points per reception. Yeah, this is a slam dunk. This is a no-brainer. Yeah, and if you're lucky enough to be in the one you're betting at the ends, that's where you hope you kind of go Isaiah Pacheco and you go and Travis Kelce back to back, and then you pretty much got yourself safety. But my number one is the Kansas City Chiefs tight end, Travis Kelce.
Yeah, Kelsey's my number one, and like you said, yeah, I think you're right. I guess it depends on how many people are in your league, but if you're playing in that 12-man league, you're at the back end. Your first pick, especially if you got that 12th pick or the 14th pick, you get the first round pick. You're taking Kelce right away.
Yeah.
And if he's not gone by pick 3 of that second round, that third team's got themselves very nice tight end. But yeah, Kelce, compared to with Tony Gonzalez, I think is definitely a great combination there. Some other tight ends I want to just talk about. Kermit from the Bears. What's your thoughts on him?
I like Kmet. I think that's all right. I think Cole Kmet, he's going to have to get used to a new quarterback. I think Kmet's a good tight end. It's just I'm not quite sold on him yet. It depends. Also depends on the league you're in. If you're also in a PPR league, it's going to be early. After week 2, if Cole Kmet hasn't been drafted, and that would be kind of ridiculous if Cole Kmet hadn't been drafted yet. Usually after week 2, you're going to see how him and Caleb Williams are going to go with each other. Week 1 is usually going to be a good indicator for like Caleb Williams. I would steal. If you don't have Kmet, you should steal him. And if he's floating around free agency, steal him.
Yep. How about a guy from Coughlin from the Jets? What do you think on him? I mean, the Jets are kind of a mess right now. Do you stay away, or is that kind of a sneaky pick if you need a tight end middle of the year?
I think he's a good bye week tight end.
Okay.
You're dealing with, because you got to remember how many people really knew a lot of the tight ends that Green Bay had when Aaron Rodgers was there. Yeah, you had a couple. You had Mercedes Lewis. You had Jimmy Graham, but those guys were all pretty much well known before they went to Green Bay.
Yep.
But you don't really recognize too many Green Bay tight ends during the Aaron Rodgers years. Yeah, the Brett Favre years are different because you can remember Ed West, Keith Jackson, like that. But if you're looking at a tight end in the Jets organization, he's a good middle of the season bye week roster spot holder. Other than that, if you weren't on the same team as Rodgers, that's my problem.
Yeah, that's you're right there. And again, who knows how long Rodgers is going to stay upright? That's going to be another question probably later on.
Minute and a half.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's go into the wide receiver category. Again, since you didn't split them up, we'll just go right top 5. So my number 5, I'll start. I got a guy in Dallas, CeeDee Lamb. I think that offense, as long as he's healthy and if Dak can get him the ball, he's going to get his some way, But I think, he's definitely the focal point there. So, You're number 5.
My number 5, I went to Cincinnati. I'm looking at that going, and this guy proved the fact is he didn't need Joe Burrows. He still had Jake Browning to get him the ball. This guy, he's a former Heisman Trophy winner too, as a wide receiver. You know how rare that is.
Yep.
And the thing is, he averages 17, 18 points a week, and in a PPR, and that's kind of low for a PPR league, but for regular non-PPR league, 17, 18 points, I think you want to take from a wide receiver every week. You want all your wide receivers to kind of put them numbers up. I've got number 5. Number 5. He was number 1 in the Cincinnati Bengals, but I've got Jamar Chase.
Yeah. My number 4, we're going to go with Detroit. I think that's going to be a theme in a couple of these categories. St. Brown, with Laporta and Gibbs, Golf. It's you said it yourself. It's hard to say that Golf's actually a pretty good quarterback. With the weapons he's got. St. Brown got paid, and hopefully he can live up to that cash that he got. You're number 4.
You're not going to be a fan of mine here in a minute, and I had a huge problem last year with this because I had this guy, and it bothered me so much because this guy seems to when you had Kirk Cousins, your wide receiver decides to disappear from the red zone in, and it was so bloody crazy, and it drove me so nuts because I had this guy, and I'm like, why did they not just throw to him? And it's crazy, and yet they can still throw to Addison and Osborne, and I'm like, good Lord, why are you not throwing to Justin Jefferson? Because I could really use the points. I hope that Darnold can do what Kirk Cousins couldn't do last year, and even Jalen Hall for some reason. It's like they forget that you guys got probably the top 3 wide receiver in the league, and he disappears going into the red zone. That's the only knock on him. That's the only reason why he's number 4, because of his numbers last year, because he didn't have so many touchdowns inside the red zone, and that hurts. But my number 4 is Justin Jefferson.
I can see your opinions on him, and he's got to get that. And here in Minnesota, they compare him to Moss and stuff, but Moss was leaping over people, and I don't know if Jefferson has that ability. Not saying he can't jump, but I think he's just if he's going to score, he's going to score from 20, 30 yards out. He's not going to get those red zones. And that's maybe that'll change because Hawkinson's going to be gone for the first few weeks. So we'll see. So my number 3, I am going with the team that I have plopped in the Super Bowl this year, and they're going to be a scary offense, and that is Nico Collins from the Houston Texans. I think coming off his rookie year, he's going to hopefully learn the right way from Diggs. Him and CJ is going to keep growing. I just see monster things from Collins over his career. You're number 3.
Yeah, I had both, and the weird thing is last year I had both Nico Collins and Tank Dell.
Yeah,
and they were averaging somewhere along the lines of 16, 17, 18 points a week. That's a good pick. You kind of stole my thunder at number 4. Okay. I believe the same thing you do. I'm coming to the point where I'm starting to think that Jared Goff is like an older version of Brock Purdy. Right. It's starting to look like that, but you've got such great talent at the wide receiver, the running back, the tight end. The only way you can screw this up is if you run out of the back of the end zone. That's it. And Amon St. Ra came on week 5 last year. Week 4.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. Yeah,
and it was unexpected. And next thing you know, it was like he was averaging mid-teens, 15, 13, 14,
Yep.
15, and he was averaging a touchdown and 125 yards, a touchdown and a half, I think it was, and 135 yards. Yeah, I think you want that from every wide receiver that you got. But yeah, I've got Amon St. Rao from the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. All right, my number 2. I think this guy, I mean, he's showing that he can put up numbers pretty much with whatever quarterback, but the quarterback he has now, we're all worried about, every time he gets hit if he's going to get up. And I guess the cheetah, Tyreek Hill, is my number 2. That guy can fly. You hit him in stride, he's gone. That guy, I think, came close. I think he had 1,700 yards, almost 2,000 yards.
Yeah, he was. I think he was. I can't.
If he wasn't hurt the last couple of games, I think he would have had it.
I think he'd be the. I think he could easily go to. I think he could go 2,000. There's no.
Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, it's so scary that you never know. You're facing him, and you got to worry that, man, this guy could go for 150 to 200 yards and get 3 touchdowns. How am I going to balance that on my team?
Right.
So,
right.
And I'm not saying that you want the guy to get hurt, but it's like, okay, how are the teams going to cover him? So.
But it's strange because you've got a guy who's almost just as quick, almost has just as sure of hands on the other side of the field. I would hate to be any defense to try to play this. And speaking about a guy who I'll tell you the story after we finish this category. But yeah, I agree completely with you. I've got my number 2. I've got Tyreek Hill.
Ooh, I kind of wonder what your number 1 is, because, of course, my number 1, not really a homer. I'm trying not to be a homer, but I don't think anybody could, touch Jefferson when he's healthy. And I get what you're saying about the red zone targets and stuff, and but between the 20s, he's dangerous. He's another guy too. You hit him in stride, and nobody's going to catch him. So yeah, he does got to get more opportunities in the red zone. But again, a lot of teams are probably double covering him in the red zone, so it's a little hard. So, all right, you're number 1.
My number 1 is you stole my thunder at number 5. I got CeeDee Lamb.
Wow.
I think this is and Crispy's going to argue with me on this, but I think the only weapon that Dallas has on the wide receiver side of the ball is CeeDee Lamb. He's definitely going to earn his paycheck. I think he's definitely going to earn that new check he got. But the thing is, he doesn't get lost in the red zone. He doesn't get he's the deep threat, but he's also the guy who doesn't. He all of a sudden it's and I know Justin's on the field because I've seen enough Vikings games to know he's on the field in the red zone, but somehow the offensive coordinator misses him, but yet the offensive coordinator in Dallas doesn't miss CeeDee Lamb on the field when he's your number 1, when he's your number 1 or number 2 read. It's difficult. I don't know who in our league has CeeDee Lamb. Probably Bacon at this point. I know who's got Justin Jefferson in our league, but that's typical. Yeah, you picked him what, number 5?
Yep. That was my number 1 pick. I was not going to let him pass.
Let's just say my number 1 pick became my number 1 guy at another position. So,
okay.
But yeah, I like CeeDee Lamb. I think he's going to bail Dak Prescott out in a couple drives this year. But he's good for a high teens, 18, 19 weeks.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, he's definitely. Couple guys I want to touch on. Let's touch on your guy for the Colts, Pittman Jr. Where do you stand with him?
I like him, and I'm going to say this, but if as long as Anthony Richardson's healthy, the guy that you need to be looking at more towards on the wide receiver side of the football for the Colts is Josh Downs.
Okay,
I think because where if it was Minshew, it was Pittman. If it's Richardson, it's going to be Josh Downs, because Josh Downs built lot like Tyreek Hill. He's got the speed. Came out of North Carolina last year. I think he got Indy out of a lot of problems last year. If it weren't for him, Pittman didn't start getting the problem is Pittman didn't start getting the football until he had himself a nice little conversation with Steichen and Minshew. So
Yeah.
that, and the thing is, you're looking for your wide receivers to get 15, 16 points, and
Yep.
Pittman's getting you 10, 11, and he's no better than at this point. He's no better than a flex running back in your league.
Yeah, exactly. So I got a couple guys here, kind of been around the block a few times, more consistent players. I got Devontae Adams of the Raiders and Mike Evans of the Bucks. Where do you think those guys are sitting on rosters?
I think if you're looking at Devontae Adams is a 6. I think he's 6 in that group, 6, 7 in that group.
Yeah.
He's getting that older, but he's also got that wild card quarterback, a lot like Brett Favre was. He's got I'm not calling Gardner Minshew a Minshew like the next coming of Brett Favre, but the thing is, he's got the same mentality. You kind of hope that Minshew and Devontae Adams can get on the same page quick. If that happens, I think Devontae's good for 15, 14, 15, and you said the other one was
Evans for the Bucks.
Evans. I think Evans is starting to get on that back end of that career. I think he's got, not saying I have anything wrong with Baker Mayfield, but you've got Chris Godwin line up on the other side. You've got 2 wide receivers. I see Mike Evans becoming more of a mid-range guy where Godwin can stretch the field a little more. I think Evans is starting to get to that mid where you're going to see if he's going to score points, he's going to score points in the red zone. He's going to be in the not just Justin Jefferson spot on the field. I think he's getting to that age. I see a couple years left with Mike Evans. He's a mid-teens guy, points 13, 14. I don't like him. I think he's a good 2 on a team.
Yeah, Evans definitely. I mean, Adams, you're probably going to get that consistent play. Evans, yeah, you're going to get consistent, probably lower numbers, but that week that you want him to be good, and he's not, when you're counting on him to be good, that's the week that it's like,
okay, you need him to be good, and you're going against the pass defense like the Jets, or they're going up against the pass defense of, say, Cleveland or San Francisco. You're jobbed at that, or Dallas. You're jobbed at that point.
Yep. Yeah. So if you could get them up against the teams that don't have good pass defenses, that might be the time to play them.
Yeah, and the key thing to our category was playing them every day. And Mike Evans may not be an everyday kind of wide receiver in your fantasy football team.
Nope, you're actually right. So okay, let's go to the running backs. I think this one could be all over the board. I really think our top 2 everyday running backs or every game running backs are going to be the same. So go with your number 5.
I think I made the comment last year that on our morning tailgate that the surprise of the year would be that Bijan Robinson was going to have 1,000 yards by week 10. Missed that by a mile. But again, they laid heavy on him too, because they were so schizophrenic at quarterback that it wasn't even funny. I think now we got Kirk Cousins there. Still at Kurt's age, if it ever gets back to Kirk and dude, I'm young. He's going to say, dude, I'm younger than you. Yeah, you are. But he's a good game manager. He gets things done, and I still remember a 33-0 deficit that we kind of lost. But I think Bijan Robinson is going to be is definitely an everyday back on a fantasy football team. I think he's a solid 1. To me, I think he's going to average. Golly, you get a good running back. He averages what do I don't think I have him on a team, but I know I'm looking at trying to figure out what projections are on him. But I got him on one, I think, where he's 15.
Yeah.
He projected 15 this week, or the first week of the season.
Yeah.
And he's good for it. That's the thing is he's good for
He
15.
can be, yep. My number 5, again, another guy that I'm going to be scared to watch every or twice a year. I mean, unless you have him on your fantasy team. Going to the Green Bay Packers, Jacobs. I was kind of shocked that they picked him up, but I think he fits there. He's going to get the ball. He's going to get it out of the backfield. I think Jacobs is going to really help Green Bay in that offense.
Well, now that Aaron Jones is done for the season, they're going to rely on him even more.
Yep, exactly. So you're number 4.
I didn't think I'd ever put a New Orleans Saints on, especially the way they've been. But there's only one guy on that list that I think, and every time I've seen him, he's scary, and I'm glad I don't have to see him. I don't think I have to see him this year. You might. I know I don't. But every time I see Alvin Kamara, every time I look at it, he's averaging 13 points, 14 points. He does it all. He was running up the ranks after his 4-game suspension. He was running up numbers that he was trying to catch up to get back up to being the top 10 running back in fantasy.
He pretty much did it one game a couple years ago. So
my number 4 is Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, that's a guy I kept off the list because, if you got him, you're going to play him, but you just, for me at least, I'm kind of just, afraid that I'm going to play him and he's going to get that injury. He's not going to get the good. But he's also a guy that you put him on the bench and he's going to go off for the 120 and 2. It's like, why is he sitting there? So my number 4, we're going to go with, I guess I'm staying in the division. Detroit Lions running back Gibbs. That guy's up and coming, I think, with that offense. And the thing is, that offense is going to get better, too, because once Goff is gone, you got Hendon Hooker back there learning. That team sticks together. Detroit's going to be scary, and it's going to take, I think Detroit's going to look to be kind of old-fashioned where they're going to run the ball to set up the pass. So, and Gibbs is going to be a big part of that. So, you're number 3.
Well, my number 3, you just stole my thunder at number 4. I've got Jahmyr Gibbs. I actually have Jahmyr Gibbs on my team, which is against you. So that's going to be ugly. But yeah, he's good for 14, 13 and a half, 14. Matter of fact, against you, he's projected at 13 and a half against the Rams.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right. So my number 3, you took him at 5. I got Bijan Robinson. I think with Kirk there, if Kirk can stay healthy, he's going to be a big focal point. I think again they're going to. I think they're going to. I think their passing game or their play calling is going to depend on who they're playing against. But Robinson's going to be a big part of that on the backfield stuff. And there might be some times where they're running to set up the pass, and sometimes they're setting the pass or setting up the pass or doing the pass to set up the run game. So Robinson should have a big year, 1,000+ yards, definitely 10 touchdowns plus. You're number 2.
My number 2, his numbers went down a little last year, and I think the year before they were worried, the Titans were worried about that, and they drafted his replacement in a way in Tajay Spears. Don't get me wrong, I think Tajay Spears is going to be. I think he's going to be an amazing running back in Tennessee now that he's going to be the featured back in Tennessee. But my number 2 went to the Baltimore Ravens. I think this kid, he's in his 12th year, is still, this is a guy who can run for 65 yards, score 3 touchdowns, and still find a way to get you 19 points. Yep. That's the thing with Derrick Henry. And the nice thing about it, he's going to be behind amazing offensive line in Baltimore. He's fine, and that's the thing. The other thing that was really nice was a couple of years back, he really learned how to catch the football out of the backfield because he had hands of stone, and I'm so glad I don't have to see this guy twice a year anymore. But yeah, my number 2 is Derrick Henry for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep, that's my number 2. Henry going to Baltimore. I think it's better than Lamar Jackson because he doesn't have to worry about running.
Exactly.
He can hand the ball off. I mean, yeah, Lamar's still going to probably run it 10, 12 times, which, Henry will probably still get his 20 carries. But, yeah, I think Henry going there is going to just help that offense overall. And Henry's, like you said, somehow he's going to get you 15 to 19 points a week, and you don't know where it's coming from. So, all right, number 1.
Well, he was my number 1 pick. Legitimately scared me that somebody let me have the number 1 draft pick on an auto pick, and this guy, I almost want to go out on a limb that this guy's going to average 21 points a week. I almost want to go on that because he does so many different things. He catches the ball out of the back. He catches the ball out of the backfield. He runs. He's actually, I think he was actually the backup quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers during the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep.
This guy can get you points from any direction. So and it's scary that he can do it. But yep, my number 1 pick of the draft, Christian McCaffrey. I think he's pretty much consensus everyone's number 1 draft pick.
Yeah, he's one. If you got him, you're not sitting him. He helped make Purdy look good. He helps that offensive weapons look good. When Sanford got him, man, I don't know what the Panthers were thinking about, but if they don't think they could have paid him,
they got him for nothing too.
Yeah,
I think they got him for what, a 4th-round pick.
But he stays healthy. He's definitely the number 1 consensus overall pick in every league, I think. I don't know anybody outside of him that, I mean, unless it's a keeper league. Of course, if it's a keeper league, he's already on the team. But
yeah,
these open drafts, he's definitely number 1. So, all right, so let's get to the quarterbacks, and then we'll recap our C2C draft a little bit. God, we got a lot of good quarterbacks. I just got to say, it's hard to rank them. I'm going to go with my number 5 in Philly. He does have to stay healthy. I love the quarterbacks that can run. I got Jalen Hurts. He just has to stay healthy. I think he's definitely a can't-sit player when you have him. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is sitting there in Houston. I think again a guy with option. This is one of those guys that when he had his coming out party, was it week 3?
Every week it seemed like.
It seemed like it, but there was that week 3 where he went like 34 or 50 something for like 377 or something and 5 touchdowns. It was like okay. And the fact is, he's also a running quarterback.
Yep.
And I think I'm going to say this wrong because I know I can't remember. Bryce Young went to Alabama. Okay, so it's CJ Stroud. You know how many times we have to how many times we sit there and talk about Ohio State quarterbacks who aren't any good, who are good. We're talking about the only one right here at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, it's strange. I want to see his encore performance from his rookie year because this guy what was he leading at one point? He was like threatening to lead the league in passing and touchdowns.
Yeah. He was on fire.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's one thing that they're all knocking is just what's his senior or his sophomore year going to be like.
Right.
So, excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. My number 3 or my number 4. We've brought him up plenty of times already. Lamar Jackson. I think with Henry there, it's going to help him out. He does have to get better passing, but he's still going to get you his 30 to 40 points because quarterbacks always score higher. But I think you're going to see a lot better passing game, more weapons around him getting involved. So Lamar Jackson at number 4. You're number 4.
My number 4. This is the crazy pick for me.
Okay.
This guy's got us. My number 4 has to be on his feet longer than 30 seconds.
Wow.
If he's healthy, who's really not starting Aaron Rodgers? It's you're looking at a guy who, and especially in our league, I think the guy's going to average 30, 38, 35 to 39 points a week.
Yep.
I'm scared that he may not last 30 seconds. At this point, Santino Morella lasting longer in the Royal Rumble might be more possible. But yeah, I've got number 4. My number 4 is former number 4's backup, Aaron Rodgers.
I'm just seeing if he even got drafted. I'm looking
In our league.
Yeah,
probably.
I don't see him, but my number 3. We brought this up already. How scary it is that we're thinking of him as a top 10 quarterback in the league. I got him number 3. I actually had him number 1 in my NFC side of things, and that's Jared Goff. I think he is definitely going to be the guy that sets the tone for those Lions.
Oh, yeah, I found out who's got him.
Who got him?
Bacon.
Oh.
Bacon.
I don't know. Bacon had a good draft. When we recap, I think Bacon probably had the best draft. So,
yeah, wasn't bad.
Number 2.
My number 3. So,
you're number 3.
My number 3. This is a guy who, and again, this guy's to me, he's a prima donna. But the guy, you're definitely starting him, and you're definitely going to start him every week. But for some reason, he has bad. Okay, if they're playing the Indianapolis Colts, for some reason he has a bad game against them. Fantasy wise, I don't know. I don't get it. But this guy has got weapons over weapons. Until somebody shows me that they can stop him fantasy wise, I have to put him on my list. My number 3 is the Kansas City Chiefs SWAT quarterback Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm kind of wondering now what you got at 2 and 1, because my number 2 is your number 3. Patrick Mahomes, I still think is definitely up there in the AFC in general, but in the NFL, you got to figure out how to stop him. I mean, I know it's preseason, but he had a pass where he's running and he threw it behind his back to Kelsey, I think it was. We've seen him lay out and throw a ball 20 yards. We've seen him do the merry-go-round in the huddle. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, and I hate to say it, the only way to stop this guy is an injury. Yeah,
exactly.
So. All right, you're number 2.
My number 2, which I figured was going to be on your list somewhere, which makes the possibility that he might be your number 1. No. But we're talking about a guy who's probably one hit away from drooling. But I have a couple of years ago, if you were to ask me this on Morning Tailgate a couple of years ago, would I ever put this guy at number 5 on any quarterback list? I'd probably tell you no, because I'd be afraid. I'm a little more confident in him. And when you've got 2 wide receivers like Waddle and Hill, you're just going to make points hand over fist. And Dolphins fans are hoping that they have Denver games like they did last year. And fantasy football fans wish that too. And I think Tua is going to average 37, 38 points a week. Tua could honestly lead that team to an undefeated team. I just have that feeling. My number 2 is Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, Tua was my number 5 on the AFC side. My number 1 is I think you had him at 5. The rookie sensation CJ Stroud. If he just keeps improving, doesn't have that sophomore slump, that kid's going to just dethrone Patrick Mahomes as the best quarterback in the NFL. So,
my number 1.
Yeah.
My number 1, you kind of stole it my thunder at number 5.
Yep.
I have Lamar Jackson. I think this is a guy who passes. You're a running quarterback guy, and running quarterbacks are scary because they're what are they? They're points getters, and
Yep.
I'm averaging right now against you. I think I'm projected 38.3 points from Lamar Jackson.
Yep. All right. So we got a couple quarterbacks I want to touch base on. Brock Purdy, what's your thoughts on him week in and week out?
7. I think Brock Purdy's a 7 again. This is the point. This is for fantasy players. I think Brock Purdy is in the prime spot because he's got Ayuk, he's got Christian McCaffrey, he's got George Kittle. If he's not doing 34, 35, 36 points a week, it's scary. At least they did the right thing and traded away Trey Lance. But I like Brock Purdy.
Trevor Lawrence. I know everybody was high on him.
I think Trevor Lawrence, to me, I don't know. It seemed like he took a step back last year.
Okay.
And I think it's a Christian Kirk thing. I honestly, I don't know what's the deal with Christian Kirk. He's definitely a 1, but I don't know. He can get you 34. Is he available in our league?
I don't know. I haven't looked to see the availability on him, but yeah, he's one too that it's like, okay, if I have him, is he going to give me those points? And I'm afraid to bench him because he could get those points. You know, did you have Burrow on your list?
No.
On your top 5?
No.
Yeah, Burrow's another guy too that it's just if he's in there, he's going to get you the points, but he's also going to get injured. And
right.
Do you bench him? I mean,
right.
Well, guy, I'm going to throw out there again. I don't think you play him week 1 possibly, but I think later in the season it's going to be hard not to bench him if he has a season like I think he could have. And I brought him up already, Sam Darnold. Do you think? If he gets the connection with those receivers, especially Jefferson, you're going to have a hard time benching him.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think because of the weapons you do have. You've got Addison. I don't know what his injury looks like, but you still got Jefferson. You still got Addison. Who's your wide receiver? Your running back? Is that?
That'll be the kid Jones from Packers.
Oh, no, you don't. You guys don't have Aaron Jones. You guys
You're thinking of Dillon.
Yeah, AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon's hurt in Green Bay. But I think he's going to be a good facilitator. But you're right. It's going to the point where you're not going to be. Week 1 is going to be the litmus test. I think for Darnold. I think really that if he gets on board early, and I can't remember who your other wide receivers are. I know you got. And is Addison supposed to start week 1?
As far as I know, they have not did anything. So it'll be Jefferson, Addison, of course, Jones in the backfield, the tight end. I can't think of his name right now, and I can't think of.
Was that rookie? You guys got a rookie tight end? Yeah,
I think so. So, with that being said, let's get into. So, I know for me, when I get ready to set my lineup, I try to stay away from the Thursday night games, and now we got a Friday night game this week. What is your thoughts on that? I actually kind of like to just stick to Sunday games and the Monday night games. Again, if we got one of these can't miss players that you shouldn't sit, you're going to start them. But
right,
how do you go about setting up your lineup? What goes through the process?
Oh, so I give my week 1 opponent my game plan right off the top.
Yeah, exactly.
Week 1's a little different because again, you don't know what everybody's going to show. But week 2, week 3, I'm pretty close to looking. It just depends. I try to do the best I can. I try to run the projections and then base it off of the things from the week before.
That's kind of what I do.
It's kind of scary. Like week 1, I'll flat out tell you I'm running best projections against you.
Yep.
Because right now that's all I can do.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not hardcore into this. If it were money, I think I'd be a little more questionable. Then you would get spanked. But yeah, no. Right now it's just projections for the first couple weeks. But Thursday, Friday games don't really bother me. My brother, on the other hand, my brother loves Monday night games, where he would sit there and he was. We was like 8 years ago, and we were getting ready to play a poker tournament on Monday, and my brother made the comment. I said, "I'm good." He's like, "I'm going to lose unless so and so, I can't remember his name, says unless this guy doesn't play it down, doesn't touch the football, and turns around and gets hurt, I lose because I'm only up by a point."
Yep.
He's like, I'm like, okay, so we were in the middle of a break for one of the tournaments, and we look up and the guy's getting carted off the field. The guy he needed to get carted off was getting carted off the field. And when Ryan's like, what happened? And the pit boss, the guy who run the tournament, says, so-and-so caught the ball behind the line of scrimmage, got drilled, fumbled the football, and now is being taken off the field. So not only did my brother win by 1 point, he won by 3.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I like those Monday night games, especially in a close game like that. It's just like, okay, can I put somebody in Monday night to, and then the one thing that kind of bugs me a little bit about fantasy football is, you got a guy that's questionable for the game. It's just like, okay, well, I really want him to play if he's going to play, but I don't want to take the chance. So I put him on the bench. I put somebody else in.
Right.
And then, of course, it's like, oh, he's playing. It's just like, oh, now I can't sub my lineup. I wish there was some way that we could do, and not just in our league, but other leagues where, hey, if, Jefferson's questionable, okay, I want him to be my starter, but if he's not playing, then I want to insert this guy in. So what's your thoughts on that part?
God, that'd be nice.
That would be nice.
I don't know how many times last year, because I had Anthony Richardson going, oh, look. Shit. Yeah, and I played it that way where I could have used the quarterback on a Sunday night game, and I'm pretty much SOL because I had Richardson, and Richardson ended up deciding to eat the turf for a little longer than I needed him to. And it'd be great if they would let us switch, but it didn't.
Uh-oh, we just got breaking news here from Crispy. Big signing by Dallas. What?
Keep watching us for the next 5 seconds because we're
that's all he says is big signing by Dallas. So I'm just like, okay. So anyway,
Dalvin Cook just signed with the Dallas Cowboys.
Shut up! Are you serious? Wow. Wow. Ooh, my God. Yeah. Chris, we just dropped that. Wow. I thought he would. I don't know. I think his career is over, but again, I don't think he played too much last year. So
think about what was it? He got cut in New York.
Yep.
With the Jets. Now think about the backfield Dallas has now.
Yeah.
Zeke and Cook.
And then the kid
Pollard's gone.
And they got what? Yeah, Pollard's gone, but they got that rookie Bond.
Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah.
They got Deuce Vaughn last year, though, didn't they? They got Deuce Vaughn last year.
Yeah, they drafted him. So, we'll see what Crispy does with his Cowboys now. So, all right. So let's do a quick recap here of our draft, which was a 10-person team. Most of everybody from C2C is in this league. Of course, Tim with the Dirty Dobbs, he got Christian McCaffrey. Team Mayberry went with Patrick Mahomes. Swifty fan, I don't know who that is, but went with Tyree Hill. The Minnesota Flea Flickers, myself, we went with Justin Jefferson. Bijan Robinson went to the Valley Hotness. Teen Wolves went with Bryce Hall.
Bryce Hall.
Mess around and find out with CD Lamb. Barkley with the Philadelphia Eagles with the show me your TDs. Jamar Chase with Stash Goat. And then Dragon Viper rounded out the first round with Amar Rod St. Brown. So I think everybody did. I mean, Patrick Mahomes went a little bit high, but Chris, one thing I noticed with Crispy, he likes to take those stretches right away. One year he took defense right away.
Didn't he at one point take a kicker in the first round?
Maybe it was the kicker that he took first round, I think, one year. But yeah, he likes to take those stretches. And then, of course, it's a snake draft. Second round, Jonathan Taylor went to the Dragon Vipers team. The stash got A.J. Brown for Philly. Mike Evans went to show me your TDs.
He's bound to get you in trouble for saying that.
I know. That's why I'm trying to enunciate it. Puka Nacua went to mess around. Nico Collins went to Teen Wolves. Garrett Wilson went to the Valley Hotness. Williams from the Rams came here to Minnesota. Josh Jacobs, which I should have taken. I don't know why I did it, but Swifty fans. Travis Kelce went to Team Mayberry, and then you rounded it off with Jameer Gibbs. So right there, to me,
I took three running. My first three picks were running backs.
Yeah, and right there, Crispy. I mean, you went with the number one quarterback in most leagues and the number one tight end in most leagues.
Exactly.
And got them. So if Crispy's going to be a hard team to beat with those two people, as we've noted, are can't sit players. So, so then the third round, I'm not going to go through all the rounds. I'll just go through the big rounds here. You went Travis Etienne. T. Mayberry again went with the Browns in the third round with the defense. Devontae Adams with the Swifties. Pacheco I took with the running back. Chris Olave went to the Valley Hotness. Marvis Harrison Jr., who could possibly be Rookie of the Year, with Teen Wolves. Debo Samuel with the mess around. Travis Henry went to show me your. We're not going to pronounce it anymore because it's Josh Allen went to the stash, and then Rashid White, running back, went to the Dragon Vipers team. So yeah. So the first three rounds, I think outside of maybe the Browns getting drafted, but Chris does that. I think everybody else is definitely fell where they should be. I'm just looking at some other rounds.
I think I took the first rookie off the board. Now that I'm looking at it.
No, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, Marvin Harrison Jr. So yeah, I took the second one with Malik Neighbors.
Yep. Let's see here. Other people that went, Jalen Hurts went in the fourth round. McCaffrey went in the fourth round. Let's see. Ayuk. I took Ayuk. Kettle went in the fourth round. T. Mayberry, fourth round pick.
Kicker.
Yes. Justin Tucker. What's in the back kicker?
Tucker.
Yeah.
He took Tucker, though.
Yeah. The ninth round, Laporta went to T. Mayberry, so he got two pretty good tight ends there. I took A-Chain. You ended up with DJ Moore, which I don't think was a bad pick. At 5, that could be
honestly. I'm still
waiting for a steal.
I'm still waiting for I'm still waiting for Mess Around to send me a trade for that.
Yeah, he took Lamar Jackson in the 5th round.
I'm going to tell you, he doesn't have him anymore.
Yeah. You guys. Yeah, you guys traded. That's right.
For me.
Yeah. Let's see who else is Swift. Went to mess around, so he got one of his guys. CJ Stroud. I'm kind of surprised lasted to the 6th round a little bit in our league.
I'm surprised that Richardson went before him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Team with his sixth pick, Crispy took the Jets. So he's got two defenses.
And the funny thing is, I don't think he had, and I took his quarterback right after that.
Yeah.
Because I got Prescott.
Yeah. Well, then his first quarterback taken, or his second quarterback taken was Aaron Rodgers, which he's not going to see the field. He's not going to see the fantasy field because he got Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. So let's see here. And that's one thing too. I'm just looking through our board. I try not to draft rookies that early.
You see how late Jalen Waddle went?
That's what I was actually kind of looking for.
7th round, 70th pick of the draft.
Oh, Jerry Viper. Okay. Yeah.
Guy who still thinks Jerry Rice is the best quarterback in San Francisco history.
Yep. I took Christian Watson in the 8th round, and I turned around and took Jordan Love in the 9th. So there's my quarterback combo there.
I also got Chris Godwin. Of course, I'm going to speak great words about Christian.
Yep.
And then I took Christian Kirk.
Pollard went to Tennessee. I forgot that. I forgot he went to Tennessee. And then I'm just looking here. Nobody else really stood out. Mayberry went with the third quarterback in the 11th round, Kirk Cousins, which ain't a bad pickup, but
I took Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
From the 100th pick of the draft.
Yeah. So as I'm looking at this, do you watch bye weeks?
I do.
Mostly? Okay. Yeah.
I do. I watch bye weeks. I try to pay close attention to bye weeks. You'll start knowing when I'm getting close to bye weeks is when I'm short on a bye week. Like I already made a jump for I want to say the Jets. The Vikings. I picked up the Vikings, so I'm already got my bye week for the defense covered. Right now, I think the only thing I'm really kind of leery about is kickers. I don't even know who this Chubba Hubbard is. But I've got him.
For the Vikings?
No, Chubba Hubbard's for the running back for Carolina.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So let's get into our league here. Where is our matchups? Let's see here.
Caleb Williams. I still think the steal. I still think the trade steal of the season was Lamar Jackson for Caleb Williams.
Yep. So right now you're projected to beat me by 2 points, and I'm honestly. I'll let you know right now. I'm still kind of debating on whether to play Donald over Love. I'm very debating that very much. Or I put Watson in there, but I don't know who I would take out of my receivers. So, yeah,
you might just you'll know as soon as Thursday night's done if my week is over because my week is over because I've got Lamar versus Kansas City on Thursday night.
Oh yeah, that's true. I could wait. So, mess around versus Dragon Viper. That'll be a good matchup. Right now, Dragon Viper is projected to beat him by 16 points, roughly.
Because
why do we have a bye week?
I don't understand why we have a bye week. We shouldn't. Valley Hotness and Team Mabry should be playing each other.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to get Teen Wolf versus Show Me Your Touchdowns. Teen Wolf is projected to win by 3 on that one. The Stash versus Swifty Fans is a 2-point game for Swifty. I don't know why we have a bye week there. We'll have to get Adam to fix that. So, well, with that being said, bud, football next week. We will definitely do more of a breakdown on who our play of the weeks are per matchup. So we'll cover the matchups. We'll do our I don't know what we'll call it. Maybe we'll call it the Wheel of Fantasy Death or something. I don't know.
There we go. That sounds good to me. Wheel of Fantasy.
Yeah. So we'll have 4 teams, maybe 5. I don't know. Maybe a special guest. But we'll draft them. We'll spin the wheel.
Should we also tell them our time?
Yes. We will be doing this show 3 p.m. my time. Might be a little bit after because I have to swing and get my son from school, but we will be doing this 3 p.m. my time, Central Time. So
it's 4 o'clock Eastern, all the way to 1 o'clock Pacific time.
yeah. Yep. And then whatever it is over in your neck of the
Oh,
woods.
it's gonna be 10 o'clock my time. So
Yeah. So
nobody's watching
so
it from here. Nobody's watching it from here. So
yeah. So our show, this show will take place 3 p.m. Wednesdays. So that being said, keep checking us out. You never know what kind of content comes up. Chris just had his Die Hard podcast the other night. So with that being said, we'll see y'all next Tuesday for C2C Rankum, and then next Wednesday for Coach's Fantasy Zone. So you guys have a good night.